mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from many and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them and we take your questions. Our guest this week is someone who's used to having other guests sitting in her hot seat, virtually, of course. But in this case, she's in the hot seat tonight, folks. Yeah, that's right. So please welcome professional photographer and podcaster extraordinaire, Jess Wilson, to the stage. Jess, welcome. How are you?
Good evening, Ryan. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. I'm super excited to be on this end of the shtick for a few.
You're quite welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. The end of the shtick? Boy, I haven't heard that word in like 2 days. But listen, once again, Happy New Year to those of you who may be watching us for the first time. Welcome. Make sure you like and share this video with all your closest friends. If you have any questions for Jess as you go throughout the course of this show, whether it's live or on the replay, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Our producer is going to be keeping an eye on it as we go throughout the course of the show. But in the meantime, sit back, relax, and enjoy this. So, Jess, we're going to kick things off here with what were some of your favorite movies or TV series growing up? Any titles stand out to you?
Fried green tomatoes. Fried green tomatoes was one. Beaches was a favorite. The Sound of Music. Not all of the Grease, but like Grease 1 and Grease 2. And then for Christmas, the Christmas Story one, the one with Ralphie and the...
You shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah. Those would probably be some off the top of my head.
No, all right. I gotcha.
But, you know.
No, it's fine. Hey, listen, you like what you like. There's no problem with that. Absolutely. So you got movies, you got TV series. Any favorite books or writers that stand out to you?
Let's see. I've been a Stephen King fan since like as long as I can remember being able to read big books, thick books. As you can see, I have a lot of books. So I would say Stephen King is one of my favorites. There's a lot. I couldn't name just one on books because I have too many. They're all favorites about different things. I do love anything that is fantasy, like dragons, magicians, wizards, witches, werewolves, vampires. I love autobiographies. I love documentaries. I love historical stuff. But if you ask me to it's kind of like I can sing every song that comes on the radio in the car, but if you ask me what band it is that plays the song, I'm like, huh?
Gee whiz.
Okay.
No, it's okay. It's fine. Hey, listen, enjoy what you enjoy. There's no shame in that. Any thoughts on Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon?
Oh, yes. Love both of those. I have actually the full book set. You can't see it over there. I went and got the collector books for Game of Thrones. So I have all of the books with the big maps and the big, beautiful pictures and drawings that tell all the stories of all the different family lines before where they started at in the movies. I haven't read through all of them yet. I haven't had time to, but I have them so that when I have time to, I can get into them.
Oh, wow. Any favorite board games or card games that come to mind?
My family and I play a lot of Skibbo. We play a lot of Uno. We're pretty generic in that aspect. I am a World of Warcraft fan.
WoW fan. Okay.
I am classic WoW. I do have a Shadow Priest. I do have a guild. I was the guild master of a raiding guild during the renewal of Classic here recently. But then when the new stuff came out, we switched over from Classic, and the guild kind of fell apart. We lost half our raid team. We lost one of the raid leaders. And so I was like, okay, so I'll just maintain the guild and we'll just be a casual 18 and over, come and play when you have time to kind of thing. I don't think I've logged in on my Shadow Priest in probably a good 4 or 5 months, just because I've been so busy with the new grandbaby and everything. But yeah, I love World of Warcraft. I also tried my hand at the new version of it. I can't think of the retail version of it. Is that what it's called? Brain fog is going on strong here today. And I really like that one too. There was an expansion that I got into that was based on Classic. Like it had all of the maps and everything that were in Classic. But I was so overpowered, and it is one of my favorites, that I could go into all of the old dungeons and stuff. And I'm one of those people that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be the shadow priest that's going to go back in here. Hey, all you Murlocs, remember when you used to kill me all of the time? Take all of that. I'm destroying your families. That was one of my favorite expansions.
Nerd. No, we appreciate that here. By the way, Brian Wensloff is here. He says, hello. And he also says, that's a nice collection behind Jess with all the books.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot there.
Yeah. Brian Wensloff appreciates that. Good stuff. So speaking of WoW, two-part question. First part is thoughts on the Warcraft live-action movie that came out some years back.
Being someone who did not play it years ago when it first came out, I loved the movie. I thought it was awesome. My family is a gaming family. My oldest son is a gamer. We went from like Club Penguin to like Minecraft. We went to RuneScape. I have characters on all of these game platforms. And then we went to I think it's like Neverwinter. Mm-hmm. And then from Neverwinter, we went to WoW. And when we got to WoW, I was like, that's it. This is it. Like, I remember this stuff from the movie. Like, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, I think my Shadow Priest is pretty badass, and she's purple. And so, yeah. That's just kind of where I stay at. Sorry if that's not allowed.
No, it's fine.
Awesome.
It's fine.
She's an awesome hot purple chick.
All right. Maybe for those of you maybe watching or listening to this are probably having an image in the back of your mind that's starting to form when it comes to certain characters and certain properties. But that's fine, because that's neither here nor there. Outside of Warcraft, what are your thoughts on D&D, and are you excited for the Dungeons & Dragons live-action movie that's going to be dropping later this year with Chris Pine and company?
Yes, and I have no clue. So when I was in high school, I was like the book nerd. I was the gal that like was able to hang out with some of the jocks and some of the stoners and some of the skaters and some of the
I'm sensing a pattern here.
People kind of thing, right? Like I was the teacher's pet.
The Breakfast Club.
Grades and stuff. And there were a group of kids in the circle of friends that I had that played D&D. And I wasn't ever allowed to play because it was just the boys, no girls allowed. And I always thought, oh, that's really interesting. It would be fun to do that. So I have never actually played myself. As an adult, I have learned a little bit more about it. My kids have played it and just have not taken the time to sit down and teach me how to play it. So I think that D&D is awesome. Have no idea how to play it. And didn't even know that there was a movie coming out for it, but I will be making sure that I put it on my list so that I can watch it, because I like movies like that stuff. So
Fair enough. Giddy up. The trailer is on our good friends at YouTube. # not a sponsor. Feel free to watch it after this broadcast.
I shall.
I know, right? With that being said,
I'm writing it down now.
Wonderful. I'm great. At least one of us is taking notes. But once again, we are talking with professional photographer and podcaster Jess Wilson on this episode of Van Dyke Quote. Welcome. Don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for Jess, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Be more than happy to read those and present those here on screen for Jess to answer for you. No problem at all. With that being said, when did you decide to become a photographer?
Eons and eons ago, there was a wise man. No, I'm kidding. This is like the third time in this week that I've been asked this. Sadly, I was not the 5-year-old running around with a little pink plastic camera going, I'm going to be a photographer. I took photography in high school, my junior year. Black room, 35 millimeter cameras, film, developing. Absolutely loved it. When I moved out and got married and had my own kids, I got my baby books and there were no pictures, and I was extremely butthurt about that. Not butthurt like at my parents, because everybody has a different value that they place on photography, but just like butthurt sad, because I had like uncles and aunts and cousins and grandparents that had passed, or that I didn't know where they were in the world kind of thing, and there were no pictures. So I got married, had kids, and when I had my first son, my first kid, my son, I started taking pictures for his baby book. And then because I was always taking pictures of everything, I got invited to do a wedding for an extended family member. Did the wedding. They were like, wow, you're really good at this. You have a good eye for it. You should do this as a business. I had 2 small kids at home at this time, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, maybe this should be something I should do. I do love taking pictures. And I was always, like I said, I'm a book nerd. So I was always reading up and researching and trying to learn things and improve how I was doing the pictures and whatnot. Anyhow, I took a class from Jim Zuckerman, who is a photographer for National Geographic, and I absolutely loved his work. And decades ago, he did one-on-one online classes that you could take. And so I took his class and was like, if he says I suck, I'll just do it as a hobby. If I don't suck, I will look into doing this as a real business. And so he said I didn't suck. And I was like, okay, let's do this as a business. And it's been 24, almost 25 years now. So there you have it. I know it's not like a romantic comeuppance story.
No, it's fine. I never would have guessed. You don't look a day over 25. But that's beside the point. With that, I know, right? Would that be? You must have been drinking that immortal tiger blood or something. I don't know.
It's called Fireball.
Yeah, that's what we call it. We don't call it the other stuff. Let's just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. What would you say are some of the biggest rewards about being a photographer?
So I specifically do. Backing up, rewind. Almost 2 years ago, I pivoted my business from in-person on location to the remote global photography that I offer now. And I specifically am niched down to branding and branding and portrait services. When I say portraits, I think families. Family photography has always been one of my heart focus. Like, that's what got me started taking pictures in the first place. And, like, I've worked with so many amazing people, but I would have to say some of the most stuck in my head will forever, like I will die with them in my memory and in my heart, are the birth sessions where I've gotten to see families welcome their first babies into the world and hear their first cries and how they come together and there's something just so magical about a baby being born and coming into the world. And then on the flip side of that spectrum, there have been families that I have done pictures for where they've had a family member who was diagnosed and given a certain amount of time to live. And this was their last time coming together, all of them together in one spot, and being able to document that time together before that loved one passed on. So those moments, like, if I didn't have any work for a whole year and I did one of those sessions, I would be like, okay, it was worth it for me to be sitting here twiddling my thumbs all year long, because that's how much those kinds of things mean to me for the family stuff.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Congratulations on all that, of course. Should definitely say that. Kind of goes without saying. But on the flip side of the coin, though, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges about being a photographer?
Well, I think there's 2 different sets. Do you want the ones for being a photographer that works with people on location in person, or do you want the challenges of working with people from all over the world doing it remotely?
Well, in the words of the meme that's been circling the interwebs for the last 15 or 20 years with that little girl talking to her parents, why not both? So we'll go with both. Let's go with both flavors of the week here. Start with the first part of it and then go to the second part. Go ahead. So
the first part, you want in person on location?
Sure.
Okay. So in person on location, I would say one of the challenges is so I am an over communicator. Ryan knows this, I'm pretty sure, from our time together on Clubhouse. Mm-hmm. But I'm an over communicator. So when I was doing in person on location work, I would tell people about like these are the things I need you to do on your end to prep. But in the back of my mind, I was always prepared with a plan A, B, C, D, E for when we got to the spot. If something didn't work out, maybe they weren't prepared. Maybe the kids showed up and they got, Henri in the car and they gave him a treat and they're showing up with ice cream all over their shirt or whatever, right? So that would be the struggles for in person, because you can't control everything, But in person, you can at least prepare for some of those things, no matter how much you communicate, kind of thing. So that would be the hardest part. And then in addition to that would be, you have to, and these are hard things, but I think that they all come down to how well you communicate. Because then when you flip that, when someone is coming to do pictures, they have set in their head what those pictures are going to look like at the end and what they're going to do with them. Are they using them for their business, for their marketing? Are they putting them on a canvas wrap over the fireplace? Like, what is it that they're going to do with them, kind of thing? They have that established in their head. And you have to be able to communicate with them to draw that out enough so that I can do my job and make that happen for them, or happen as close as possible to what they picture in their head happen for them, kind of thing. So I would say that those are the biggest struggles, because sometimes people will communicate and say, this is how I want to do it, and this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do with it, and then we do the pictures. And there have been a couple times over the years where then they change their mind and they're like, I decided that I don't like how I looked in that shirt. Like, can you go through and Photoshop me into a blue shirt instead of a green shirt in 500 pictures? Not really 500 pictures, but, so that would be the struggle for the in-person on location stuff. Any questions on that before I move on?
No, Your Honor. You can proceed to Exhibit B. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't have any questions off the top of my head here, Jess. You can continue on to part 2 of that with doing the remote photo shoots and things like that. Does that make sense? I think I know where I'm going.
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you, sir.
Go right ahead.
And then for the remote stuff, it's kind of the same struggles, but in a little bit of a different aspect, because since we're not meeting in person, I can't really come up with a plan A, B, and C to like counteract that and make it happen. So with the remote sessions, it's like, if you don't follow the prep checklist, if you don't communicate clearly with me, whether that's like, hey, I might be changing my mind, I might be thinking I want to go a different route with how we want to do these pictures and whatnot, or do different props or different location, whatever it might be, that can create a problem because we are remote. If you're clear across the pond in Canada and I'm here in Utah and you change the plan and we don't communicate about it, that can really mess us up. And, it's cool, remote photography, global photography, and we can get some really beautiful quality images, but it is remote global photography, and you can only do so much to like counterbalance any of the issues that might come up. So pretty easy there. Seems like it was going to be this long dissertation, huh?
No, I wasn't thinking that at all. Once again, we are talking with professional photographer and podcaster Jess Wilson on this episode of And I Quote. If this is your first time here, welcome. Don't forget to like and share this video with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for Jess, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We would love to hear from you. You mentioned something about remote photography and headshots. So these are some examples of remote headshots that have been taken with the kind of the plans you lay out, the kind of things that you do. Yes. These are some incredible photos, by the way.
Thank you.
Wouldn't you say? And my next part of that is, how important, in your opinion, is a headshot?
I think it's super important. One of my things about having an updated profile picture, aka a headshot, is that you want to look like yourself, right? If you are trying to have an online presence and you are trying to share something with people, with the world, trying to build a community, trying to sell a service or a product, you want to be recognizable. If you do a lot of content where you're tagging people in your local area and someone runs into you at the grocery store or at the coffee shop, you want to look like you. Because if you don't look like you, chances are we're all, even people that are nice, are still somewhat judgmental. We all judge, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not on purpose. And if you see someone who is putting themselves out there and trying to do business and trying to grow a community and do the things, and you see them in person and they look nothing like what they portray online, we tend to kind of like, oh, how credible are they? Like, are they really practicing what they preach? Like, they're not even showing their real face on the camera, kind of thing, or whatever. So I think it's important that you do headshots at least once a year, because, the way we look changes. Our hair color, our hairstyle, our clothing style, our weight goes up and down. everything changes, and you want to always be able to look like yourself, because that helps establish your credibility with people when they run into you, when they meet you. Plus, it makes it easy for them to find you across like all social media platforms, right? I have one profile picture that I use on all of the platforms across the board. And every time I update that, I will change it across the board. And in my personal opinion, doing that makes it so that I'm easily recognizable no matter what platform I'm on. And then when I go live, I look like my picture. I don't look cartoony because it is an AI cartoon version of my picture, but I still look like me. It's not like, oh, is that her? Is that her sister? Is that her daughter? Maybe that's her grandma. I don't know. No, it's me. So I do think it's important when you want to establish credibility and, you know, actually be doing something online. And if you don't care about those things, then it doesn't matter. You can still use your profile picture from when you were on the football team or the cheer team in high school, and it's been 20 years. It's okay. No judgment here.
Oh, there you go. Right on, right on. Yeah, picture says 1,000 words. Pictures make impressions. So it's important to make a good one. At least, you know, in some cases, it's a good way to make a good first impression.
Yeah.
Right? With your headshot, you know, respectively, of course.
Yeah. Well, and it's statistics prove that when people are browsing through social media, LinkedIn, checking out websites, all that stuff online, when they go away from your stuff, if your stuff was of enough interest for them to stop the scroll and look and read through a couple of things, they will remember a little bit about you for about 3 days after doing that. If you add a picture, if you add a headshot, if you add some cool pictures about what you do behind the scenes or what your product and services are or whatever, you increase them remembering you for longer than 3 days by like 65%. Please don't ask me to quote where I got that from, but it was an online source that says it. And that was a stat from like 2021.
I got you. Well, if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Well, no,
I'm just kidding.
But
I'm just kidding. Some things are on the internet. Some things are true or on the internet, but not everything. Not everything. You got to take certain things. You got to take with a grain of salt.
See.
So we get salt. You know, just saying. Salt, pepper, whatever. With that being said, any special memories for you from being a photographer on doing photo shoots, whether they be in person or remote, and also any special memories of doing your show with your podcast so far that stand out to you?
I would say, like I said, the birth sessions and the we'll call them end of life family sessions are very near and dear to my heart for sure. Branding sessions, I've gotten to work with so many amazing people over the years that I can't be like, oh, one was better than the other or anything like that. I will say that for my branding sessions, and since I did this pivot to the global photography, I've had 2 clients who I've done pictures with in the Maldives. Do you know where the Maldives is?
Wow.
I have a map on my wall here because I'm just nerdy like that.
All I know is that it's far away.
It's a scratch off map, and Utah is literally over here, and Maldives is clear across, like way over here.
Way over here. Well, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So.
And it's a little bitty island in like I think it's the Indian Ocean.
There you go.
And I've had 2 clients over there, and so far on my map, that has been the farthest that I have traveled for a remote photo session, remotely, of course.
Wow, that's a lot of freaking flyer miles. No, I'm kidding. It's virtual, guys. It's virtual. She doesn't have to worry about actually sitting on a plane physically, getting on the plane, flying at 30,000 feet, and going, you know, right over there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I don't. And then on my podcast, I don't have any just one that I could pick because
not even me? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, we did get to see the inside of your apartment, and we did discuss your cleaning habits and
bits and pieces.
We won't go there because that's not what you wanted for this episode here. There's been so many amazing people, you included, that have come on and shared their stories and shared, you know, their struggles and how they've triumphed and what they do and how they got there, where they are today. And I couldn't just pick one because
it's hard to pick favorites, isn't it?
It is because every story is unique and special in its own way, just like Superman.
I understood that reference, by the way.
I know you did.
Superman? I don't know him. No, I'm just kidding. He's only been around for like 80 flipping years. You know, maybe more, a little more than 80 years, I think it is.
He's alive and well and hanging out on Clubhouse. Nobody just knows it yet.
He's been around a long time, whether it be in comics, movies, TV shows, magazines, other forms of media. We'll just leave it at that. Feel free to Google it if you want after this broadcast. Speaking of which, you were mentioning something about success and triumphs. In the backstage area after the show, I do have something I want to share with you, but I will wait for that for the backstage area portion of that, not this program. But anyway, with that being said, I want to let you know that this episode, every episode, I should say, of this wonderful program, if this is your first time here, welcome. This is Zandai Quote, is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. Now, Poddex, get this, Jess, are unique interview questions and episode starting prompts located within the palm of your very own hand. So whether you are a new podcaster, wink, wink, Jess, or existing broadcaster looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out our good friends over there at poddex.com. Use the code Ryan10, that's RYAN10, Ryan10, all one word, to get 10% off your first order. You're not going to want to miss out on that opportunity, Jess, I'm just saying. And for those of you who may be watching or listening to this, check it out. Good friends over there at poddex.com.
Very cool.
It's great, isn't it? So, Powered by Poddex wants to know, what does your typical Friday night look like?
Let's see. A typical Friday night can be one of two things. It can be me grabbing my trusty bowl of pretzels and a drink and going and laying in my bed and watching Netflix movies. Or, I guess, three things. Or, back when I had time, I would go and get on and play World of Warcraft. And then I would end up, do you know how many times my husband has gotten upset at me because he got up for work the next morning and he comes into my office and he's like, "Are you still doing dungeons?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." "Now it's a 10-man raid. Leave me alone." So that used to be what my Friday nights were. But now, typically, I'm like watching Netflix for maybe about an hour before I just crash out and fall asleep. Or my older kids who don't live that far away from me will come over and we do family game night. We try to get together at least one night every weekend and have family dinner, and we play games or we'll watch a movie, and we drink, and we're just rowdy with each other. That's pretty much it. I say rowdy with each other because it's like literally just our family. And we just hang out and have a good time. Like, we're up until the butt crack of dawn, and then we're all like, the next day, why did we stay up so late? We're too old to be staying up this late. We all have stuff to do the next day. But we have a good time.
My goodness gracious. Good tunes, good brew, good buddies. I feel great, man. I feel great. Yeah, and you're up all night playing all these games. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we do a lot of Skibbo and Uno Attacker. When we get the boys playing with us, like for Skibbo, for example. Have you ever played Skibbo, Ryan?
I don't believe so, but I am familiar with Uno because what child hasn't grown up playing the card game known as Uno?
Right. Well, my bestie in high school, my childhood bestie, Miss Sherry Taylor, she taught me how to play Skibbo, and we used to stay up for hours because we had very overprotective parents and we lived out in the middle of nowhere. That was our Friday night fun. I taught my kids how to play it. It's like a faster version of Rummy.
Oh.
You know that?
Yes, I know Rummy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But when we get the boys playing, when it's just us girls playing, we can get through a round in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We get the boys playing with us, and for whatever reason, we've had games go on and they've been like an hour, hour and a half kind of thing. So when I say that we're staying up all night being all crazy, it's usually because someone's cussing someone else out in a fun way over drinks because they're taking too long on Skibbo at the kitchen table.
Gee whiz, just make a decision.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, it's like if you're playing a game, just make a decision. Don't take too long. Hey, listen, I'll be honest with you. Full disclosure, before I'm going to present to you a follow-up question to that. But for me, when I used to go into a magical world known as Blockbuster Video,
yes,
I would be in there for hours just scoping the aisles, walking up and down the aisles, trying to figure out what movie or a couple of movies that my parents would allow me to rent that weekend to watch at my place, or what video games I could rent, because Blockbuster used to carry video games, right? You could rent N64, PlayStation 2.
I think you had GameCube ones too.
You had GameCube, exactly. You remember that, right? So it would take me forever to make a decision. I'm very indecisive when it came to that sort of stuff. Honestly, even if it's a film that I've seen 100 times, I would still be tempted to either rent the film again, or I would go over to the new releases aisle and think, what new releases could I possibly want to watch this weekend? Oh, I don't know. Tomorrow Never Dies or The Mask of Zorro, You know what I mean? Because I grew up on action movies with my dad. My dad would take me to the movie theater to see action films at the time. So I was kind of indecisive in that way. So if you're playing a game, fellas, just make a decision. Okay.
Right. Quick question for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Do you think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
No.
Okay.
It's a movie that happens to be set during the holidays, but I don't get any Christmas vibes from that movie at all.
Right. We had like a whole Clubhouse discussion topic on this at Christmas time. And I recently saw a meme after that discussion that I passed out to everybody that was modding that room with me of Bruce Willis actually going to a roast and saying, I specifically came to this roast to tell you all that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
I'm very proud that he did that.
I was like, yes.
I like the movie. It's just that I don't get any vibes of Christmas from it. I just don't. Like they play some Christmas songs in between certain scenes or sequences that are contained that are included within the film. Right. But I think to myself, all I see is a guy roaming around with no shoes on, trying to save the world from a very. This was like his first film, one of his first movies, Alan Rickman, playing Hans Gruber, and I'm thinking, it's a good action movie, but it is not a holiday film. It is not even close. and let me tell you, we're going to get a lot of feedback from that in the comment section below. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you for being here on this episode of And I Quote with professional photographer as well as podcaster known as Jess Wilson, who was our guest on this particular episode. Don't forget to like and share this video so the rest of your friends can tune in and maybe have the spirited debate in the comment section below. Is the movie known as Die Hard a holiday film or an action film, or is it both? Or maybe there's no in between. I don't know. Put it in the comments. But it's funny you should say that. No, it's funny you should say that because my follow-up question to that would be, what was the last thing you streamed on Netflix? Do you remember what it was?
I can pull it up and tell you.
Yeah, what was the last thing that you specifically watched on Netflix? Was it a movie? Was it a documentary series?
It doesn't count like that I pulled up for the grandkids to watch like this afternoon, right? You're talking about that movie that I watched for myself.
Specifically you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this isn't a family thing necessarily.
Okay, so the last thing that I watched that was mine alone.
Yes.
And watched the full thing of was Love Island.
Oh boy.
And I was watching that with my daughter. I go to her house and help her with the baby on Tuesdays, and so I started watching it. And we were done with like the last episode, so I had to watch that.
All right, it's on my Netflix queue. I haven't watched it yet, but I know what it is.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's like reality TV show. It's one of those things that you put on when you're like baking bread or vacuuming and mopping and sweeping.
It's a train wreck. You can't help but watch.
Exactly.
To a certain degree. Not that I encourage train wrecks. It's just that, figuratively speaking, reality shows 9 times out of 10 are just train wrecks that people want to watch. Well, let me ask you this. Are you familiar with a similar themed show to, what was it, Love Island?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the show called Too Hot to Handle?
It actually came across my suggested because you watched Love Island list, but I have not seen it yet, no.
Okay. I'll talk more about it behind the scenes because I want to keep this as appropriate as I can for our viewers or for the person who may be listening to this in the comfort of their own home or their car for that matter. But our next question that is powered by Poddex is this. What brand or product do you buy because you feel it's trustworthy? What do you think? It could be anything, by the way.
I'll go with makeup, skincare, and that would be Elf Cosmetics, ELF. They are vegan, cruelty-free, like awesome products. I have really sensitive skin. I have a purple eyeliner that I like to wear every once in a while, and if I wear it for longer than 3 hours, the next 3 days, I look like I ate a lot of marijuana brownies, and
oh boy,
my eyes are just ugh. So. But Elf Cosmetics is the only makeup line that I have used for several years now where I've not had any reactions to any of the skincare or makeup stuff that's there. So that would be one of my favorite brands.
Rock on. There you go. What is the nicest thing a stranger has ever done for you?
Has ever done for me?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question. Because it's been a long time. When we moved from Arizona to Utah about 8 years ago. And since we moved to Utah, I have been a little bit homebound with all the pandemic and the scary and my health issues and whatnot. So I don't go out a whole lot. I guess I would have to say, geez, I can't even think. I can't even think of one. I guess bought me a drink at the bar, held the door open for me at the grocery store. I don't know.
Whatever comes to mind. It's okay. There's no right or wrong answers here.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking and I'm like, oh, I haven't put myself in a position to be out in public enough in a long time where a stranger would be able to do anything nice for me.
All right, that's okay. It's no problem. There's no right or wrong answers here. And if you feel something is amiss with the question, you can always say, can we pass and move on to something else? That's fine.
No way.
But with that being, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Whatever works or doesn't, it's okay. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answers when it comes to these questions, which, by the way, are powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. What book do you think should be mandatory for everyone on the planet to read?
Ooh. Let me see if I can grab it for you here really quick.
Oh, we're going to get a visual aid here in the studio tonight?
Possibly.
We might get one, guys. We might get one. By the way, let us know your thoughts on these questions in the comments below. What is a book that you think every person on the planet should read? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Be curious to hear your thoughts. Do you have one for us there, Jess?
Piercing the Darkness, This Present Darkness. Frank E. Peretti is the author. It is a 2-set book series. And it is amazing. It's an amazing book. You have This Present Darkness is the first one, and then Piercing the Darkness is the second one. Now, when I got these books, funny story, my parents in California, they're born again Christians, and years ago, my stepmom sent me this set of books, and she was like, it's Christian based, but I think you'll like him, da 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 da. And I was not in the mind frame of like, oh, I want to read a Christian based book kind of thing. I was like all up in my Stephen King stuff. And it took me a couple of years of them being on my shelf, and then I read them, and they're amazing books. And it doesn't matter if you believe in God, a higher power, karma, whatever it is that you believe in. These books, the storylines in this book, this set of books, it will feed your spirituality and your energy in regards to that, regardless of what your belief is, because it can be applied across platforms, if you would. But I think it's an amazing set of books, and it offers a whole different perspective and a whole different like energy and vibe, but still giving you like that cool angels versus demons, save mankind kind of deal. So.
I mean, Sam and Dean Winchester did it for 15 years on Supernatural. What's another 2 minutes?
Exactly. It is, yeah, it's like the cleaned up Christian version of a Sam and Dean adventure.
Yeah, that's fair to say. That's fair. I remember watching the early seasons of Supernatural. I've seen the show. I know what it was like. Good show, too, especially in the early seasons were fantastic. But after that, when the creator left, and the creator specifically had a 5-year plan for the show, and then when they ended it at season 5, which had a great ending, the network was like, well, the show's making us a lot of money. The ratings are sky high, so we're not going to let you leave that easily. You're going to have to stick around for a while. And the creator said, I'm not. You can make the show without me, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Nice move, Eric Kripke. Smart move, because the show went downhill in seasons like 7 or 8, 9. I lost track.
So many seasons now. Yeah.
The fact that show lasted 15 seasons is mind-boggling to me.
It's because Dean and Sam are hotcakes.
Hey, listen, they're respectable gentlemen and they're good actors, but at the same time, I'm thinking, dude, you guys, you really didn't need to play the same character for 15 years. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the draw of it, right? Like, no matter what season it is you get, Dean is going to be Dean and Sam is going to be Sam.
And the Impala is going to be the Impala with those cassette tapes playing classic rock, which, by the way, great soundtrack, guys.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack. I'm not saying it's bad or any way, shape. I mean, who doesn't like classic rock music?
Can
Come
you
on.
karaoke it?
Hmm?
Can you karaoke it?
I'm not going to do it right now, but I have done karaoke in the past. That is a true statement. I have done karaoke. There are actually karaoke rooms on that app that you and I use, Clubhouse.
I know, I've been to one.
You have been to one?
Well, I've been to 2.
Oh man, you should have been in the one I was in, because then you could have heard me sing. I sang like 4 or 5 songs one night.
Well, you're just going to have to ping me the next time you go to
I
one.
ping you. Yeah. We're going to have to discuss more of this in the backstage area. Even so, karaoke is fun if you participate in it in the comfort of your own home, or if you go out with friends and family and coworkers. Have fun with it. That's all I'm going to say. Just have fun with it. Karaoke is fun. I've sang my fair share of songs, whether it's through Bon Jovi, whether it's Nickelback. I don't care what people say. I still like Nickelback. I've sang Three Doors Down. I've sang, who's another one? I've sang Bradley Cooper's Maybe It's Time from the movie A Star is Born, which is fantastic. Johnny Rivers, Secret Agent Man. I've sung that one.
Nice.
There's a lot. There's a lot of good tunes I've sang.
I love it. I like to say I'm a professional shower singer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, real quick though, before I pass along the next question, which are powered by Poddex, what's your go-to karaoke song if you're on stage?
That is going to be.
Do we have one?
Anything by Stevie Nicks.
Ooh.
Oh, Landslide.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks, Pink, or Madonna.
Well, what's the Stevie Nicks song that you go to the most?
Probably Landslide.
That's a good. It's a bit emotional. It's very heavy, but it's a great song. I thought you were going to say Edge of 17.
No.
No?
No, I'm all like classic rock and
don't want the guitar riff going in the background.
Oh, I do, but I like the girl power songs.
All right, well, Landslide is just as good as the
for me singing, but I mean, I wouldn't object to singing that.
No, it's fair. I was just asking. It's fair, but Landslide is one of my favorite Stevie Nicks songs. So
Edge
2
of
thumbs
17
up.
is like 3 shots, 2 beers in. That's when we get to the guitar riffs and stuff, because that's when I start playing the air guitar while I'm karaoke singing.
You know, one of the first ones that featured the guitars heavily that I sung was "Rock You Like a Hurricane" by the Scorpions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. I sang that one. You know that the other one was "You Give Love a Bad Name" by Bon Jovi.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've also sang "Welcome to the Jungle" by GNR, Guns N' Roses. Anyone remember that one? It's a good one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could go all night with this, but our next question, powered by our good friends over here at Poddex, they want to know what or who has made the biggest impression on your life within the last year.
Within the last year.
12 months. What do you think?
I am going to say there's a lot of people.
Okay.
Not like a crap ton. There's a very small circle of a lot of people that have influenced me this last year. Yes. I would say one of the top ones would be my friend Steph. Mm-hmm. Her business is Take Roots PR and Consulting. And I say that because we are within the same age group. We both are married and have families and have businesses and wear multiple hats. And we both respectively each have our own different health issues and things that we deal with, and I just leave it at that. And no matter what it is that she's going through, she still shows up and she still gives value and she still helps and supports and nurtures her community and her friends and does everything she can to be there. But then she's also not afraid to be like, you know what, this week is a rough week and I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to do some self-care and I'm going to rest and I'm going to recoup and then I'll be back hopefully next week and we'll get right back to it kind of thing. So I would say that she would be a good example that has impacted me this year.
Wow. Amazing. Great stuff. Thank you for sharing that with us. We do appreciate it. I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Jess Wilson for being on the hot seat. That's right. She was in our house, fellas. Our house. Our house. You remember that song? Maxwell House, the coffee ad? Yeah, I remember that from
singing like the Our House in the Middle of the Street.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
You said Maxwell Coffee.
Well, that's because the song was featured in an ad for Maxwell House Coffee.
Oh.
It was featured in an ad.
I didn't remember that.
Well, it's on our good friends at youtube.com. # not sponsored Jess. Write that one down. Look it up after the show. But it is a good song. It is a good song. Bless your heart for singing it for us because you do appreciate it. Maybe we'll have to do a Nerd Culture Presents karaoke night here on the set.
I'd so be down. Let's do it.
You would be there?
I would totally do it.
All right. If for the individual maybe watching or listening to this, if you think that's a great idea, or if you have some other ideas that maybe we could incorporate here into at Nerd Culture Channel, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. We'll have to hear your thoughts. But once again, I want to thank Jess Wilson for being our guest on this particular episode of And I Quote. Jess, thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year to you and your business. We hope that your business blooms, blossoms, yada, 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 and continues to make an impact positively, I might add. What's that? Yada.
Yada, yada, yada. Thank you,
Sorry,
Robbie.
I grew up on Seinfeld. I can't help it. It's my favorite sitcom of all time. Kramer is one of my favorite characters. And I have no shame in saying that. But Jess, where can the person watching or listening to this episode follow you on social media and everything that you have coming up? What do you got for us, Jess?
All right. Well, first off, a happy new year to you as well, Ryan. And thank you for having me on. I've waited all year for this opportunity, and I'm so excited to sign up and come and do it again if you'll have me. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you. Where people can find me, you can find me on all the platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Clubhouse. There's whatever other ones there are. There's a couple that I'm on that I have accounts on that I'm not really active on. But you can find me at JWilsonPix. That's JWilsonPix. I hang out mostly on Instagram and Facebook and Clubhouse. I have a very strict schedule on Clubhouse so that I don't get sucked into the black hole of spending hours upon hours over there. So typically, if you try to catch me there and it's not on a scheduled day, your best bet is going to reach out through Facebook or Instagram. Instagram being the primary one. My website is www.jwilsonpix, again, JWilsonPix. And there's a bunch of information there that tells y'all how I do the remote photography and gives you a little idea of the steps that we go through for that, as well as sample images that you can also find on my Instagram because I use that as my portfolio. And yeah, you can get a hold of me any of those ways. Pretty easy peasy.
More phenomenal. Thank you so much for being here, Jess. Do appreciate it. Once again, my name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Make sure you're following us across all forms of social media, simply at It's Nerd Culture. We are this close. Well, where's my hand? There it is. We are we are this close, I should say. Gee whiz, where am I going with this? We're this close to 1,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. Once we reach 1,000, we're going to throw the biggest, most electrifying party that YouTube and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has ever seen in his entire life. So make sure you like, you comment, you share, you subscribe. Smash that notification bell so you get notified of when our new videos go up. Also, we're going on tour this year, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to Comic-Cons. First stop on the tour, Comic-Con Tour 2023, is Farpoint Convention in Hunt Valley, Maryland. It's going to be held on February the 10th through the 12th of this year, 2023. More information can be found at Farpoint Convention on all forms of social media, so make sure you look them up, buy your tickets, join us. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be walking around the convention hall saying hi to everybody. I'm actually going to be running the movie and TV themed panels this year for Farpoint Convention. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also going to be on 4 panels that weekend talking about various nerdy subjects. Yeah. So Farpoint Convention, it's February 10th through the 12th in Hunt Valley, Maryland. Just so you know, that is what's going down with that. And once again, thank you so much, all of you, for being here. I do want to let you know that one of the biggest events is coming up this weekend. It is indeed the Multiverse Fundraiser 2023 is this weekend, January 20th through the 22nd, benefiting the John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Health. That's right. Celebrating that man's memory. We got a great lineup of guests. Look who we got. We got people such as Amy Yazbek, Armin Shimmerman. We got Cress Williams, Guy Gilchrist, Chris Gaucher. We got Victor Garber, William Catt. Some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry today are joining us this weekend. And it's all in celebration and all in the name of a very good cause. Once again, it's called the Ritter Rally for the memory of John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Health. All the proceeds, everything that gets raised, all the money that is raised goes directly to the charity. There are no in-betweens, no third parties, none of that stuff. It goes directly to the cause. So check it out. It's going to be featured on the back of the cereal box on YouTube, Facebook. Also, the website is www.themultiversefundraiser. That's FUNRAISER.com. There is a link that will take you directly to the live feed so you can watch it, you can comment. We're going to be taking your questions with each of our celebrity guests during the course of that weekend. You are not going to miss out on this. And why? Because it's a free virtual convention that you can attend from the comfort of your very own home. You don't even have to pay a nickel or a dime to get into this thing. So check it out. Support those who support you. Do it to it, because teamwork makes the dream work. Am I right, folks? I think I am.
Mhm.
That being said, thank you all for being here. Happy New Year. We wish you nothing but the best in this New Year of 2023. And remember, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe, and remember, life is better when reading. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Sweet dreams they placed on me inside my mind. Chance my truth, twist the past, my memories are fading fast. Am I still missed? Who do you want me to be? Am I still
The Multiverse Fundraiser is a virtual fandom jamboree and a charity fundraiser all rolled into one package. We're not just raising funds for a good cause, we're raising fun. Our 2023 event will be supporting the John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Health, which exists to spread awareness of aortic health and prevent unnecessary suffering through genetic research, widespread education, and radical advocacy. Our fundraiser combines celebrity panels, fandom-based panels, indie creators, and all of the fun of a virtual con for free. There's a little something for everyone while we support a cause close to our heart. Join us on January 20th through 22nd, along with celebrity guests Amy Yazbek, Jason Bear, Chris Gaucher, Victor Garber, William Catt, Cress Williams, Beth Broderick, Armin Shimmerman, Guy Gilchrist, Carrie Schaefer, Brian Hull, Amy Carrero, Jennifer Cody, and Joyce DeWitt.
Hi, and welcome to the Kickstarter. I am Roland Mann, and I'm the chief cook and bottle washer at Silverline Comics. We like making comics. I'm going to let Barb Kalberg tell you about Divinity. Take it away, Barb!
Hi folks, this is Barb Kalberg, creator of Divinity. As most of you know, Divinity is a young girl with amazing healing abilities, and everybody would like to get their hands on her. In this issue, she has fallen into the hands of an unscrupulous foe. Her brother Zach is on the run, trying to keep his own self alive while finding a way to rescue Vinny.
Thanks, Barb! The other one I'm going to tell you about is Trumps. This one is Trumps number 4. It's the conclusion of our mini-series. All the armies are in place. The battle is about to begin. We've got the clubs and the diamonds. They're about to go to war. And then there's spades and there's hearts. Only one of them can be Trumps. Who's it going to be? You got to read the book to find out. We've got all kind of add-ons that you can include. Original art. There are back issues. There are t-shirts. Back where you can. And if you can't back, we get it. We're still in a depressed economy right now. But you can share it. Share it to all of your friends who like comic books and say, hey, look, these guys deliver. So we're asking you to come along on the ride with us. Until then, remember to make mine Silverline.
Good morning. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.